Welcome to Follow South Jersey's Follow Salem podcast about the people, places, and all things good in Salem, New Jersey. Today we first talk with Ginny Ahl Jared, coordinator of the Home for the Holidays Yuletide Tour of Homes that takes place on Saturday, December 7th from 1 to 6 p.m. Then we speak with Aidan Wilson. She's a coordinator of the Magic of Christmas Parade that takes place on Saturday, December 7th beginning at 11 a.m. Hi, welcome to Follow South Jersey's Follow Salem podcast about all the people, places, and all things good in Salem, New Jersey. I'm Dean Johnson, editor-in-chief of Follow South Jersey, and today we are with Ginny Ahl Jared. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Ginny is the owner for the past 40 years of Ginny's Hair House here in Salem, and she also coordinates the house tour, the holiday house tour, right? What's the official title of that house tour?
So, yes, because it does get mixed up and renamed a lot.
Okay.
So it is the 37th, we've been doing this for 37 years, but even longer actually, the 37th annual Yuletide Tour of Historic Salem.
Right. So before we get into the tour itself, tell me a little bit about you. Who is Ginny?
So I was born and raised in Salem and did leave for probably about 5 years and went to Texas and came back and realized how much I missed Salem. I missed knowing all of the people that are walking on the streets, the beautiful historic houses, and just the small town atmosphere. So I've been here ever since and really do just love the small town of Salem.
What got you involved in the holiday house tour?
I was at a dinner one night and I heard the person that was chair of the tour say that she didn't want to do it again and that possibly we would not have a tour. And
how long ago was this?
So this was 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I said, oh, well, that can't happen. So she came to visit me the next day and asked if I would take over being the chair of the tour.
Right.
And yes, in a weak moment, I said yes.
In a weak moment, right? So tell us about, is there like a theme this year? Tell us about some of the highlights of this year's
So
tour.
some of the houses do have a certain theme, and we try to highlight that in the tour tickets that we give out. So that would be according to what the houses want to do. There are houses, churches, and museums that are open.
Okay.
And when we use the description of the houses, normally they'll put the theme of what they're going to have in that house. But it's always historic. It's always based on the holidays. And so everyone is very well decorated for Christmas when they come in.
How many houses or how many spots?
So we actually have 25 sites this year, and that would include parks, churches, museums, and houses.
What are some of the, can you highlight some of the houses?
Yeah, so some of the houses you do have to drive to. Some of them are on Market Street and Broadway in Salem. So one of the houses is, I'm going to look in my book here, because I did want to highlight. So, well, not a house, but the Salem County Courthouse that is across the street was there in 1692, and it is one of the oldest still functioning courthouses in Salem. And it is right here, the other house. The Richard Johnson house, Ken and Debbie Grayley own that house, and it was built in 1685. It was actually sold for 15 pounds when Richard Johnson bought that house. So that's one of the houses, and that's on Johnson Street, and you do have to drive there.
Right.
I mean, it is a little bit of a walk, but you still, some of the places are driving.
Right. Okay, very nice. So how far in advance do you plan this? When do you start planning for it?
So I have a great committee, and we actually call them team members. And we start planning for this in July. And we get down the essentials, and we first start with advertisers, which are in the back of the book. So local businesses are advertising specials that they'll have happening that day.
Okay.
So some people will have brunches, some people will have a band, some people have sales going on in their businesses. And then also securing who's going to be open and what houses will be open as far as the museums and the churches as well.
Right. How do you get people to volunteer their homes?
I send them letters, I visit them, and I call them. And sometimes they have to think about it, sometimes they want a year off, but always they're excited to have it. It's a day that's very exhausting, but at the end of the day, you can't wipe the smile off your face because it's so much fun.
So walk me through the tour then. Do people go into the homes, or are they just driving past the homes?
Okay, so the day starts off, it's a full day of event. So the day starts off with the Christmas parade at 11.
Right.
We try to have that end at noon, and then people can go have lunch. The tour starts at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 5 main parking places that we do put in our books so they'll know where to go. On Market Street, we have a children's park. My daughter actually runs the children's park, and she had a vision several years ago that she wanted people to be able to bring their children and not have to go on the tour, because it's not very easy walking a 4-year-old through a historic home that you can't touch anything.
Right.
And so the children's park, I didn't know how that would go last year, and she had over 300 kids come to that park.
Wow.
So they do letters to Santa, they have hot chocolate, there's children's games that are kind of typical of the history from the era of maybe the 1800s.
Okay.
And then we have a Swedish cabin across the street where we have Revolutionary War reenactors, and they're quite a bunch. They march up and down the street, they'll stand guard at people's houses. Next to the children's park, we have the Woodstown Railroad, and they're offering 3 different rides, 1:30, 2:30, and 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
You purchase tickets from the railroad to go on that ride.
Right.
And so when the people board and unboard, they're right next to the Revolutionary War reenactors,
Right.
and also the children's park. Then they can walk down the street and do all of the homes and museums on Market Street and Broadway.
Right.
And from there, they would decide which houses they would like to see that are on the outskirts of Salem.
Do the owners give the tour? I mean, do they walk them through?
So
or-
we all search for our own volunteers to help. Normally, you need at least 3 to 5 people helping in your house.
Mhm.
And once we secure that, and people do it the same every year. And we have always volunteers asking if they can help, who needs help with the tour.
Right. How many volunteers do you have, do you think, in total?
So on our committee, we have about 10 people. Each home probably has their own way of advertising and their own group of helpers. So they probably each have about 5.
Friends and family come in and help out with that kind of stuff?
And just people that are from Salem that want to get involved.
Right.
The Revolutionary reenactors, they always march up to the Old Fire Museum, which is on Broadway, and they have lunch. So they do have to prepare for lunch for the reenactors. And they've been visiting them for over 20 years. Every year they all get their picture taken with the fire chief, who's Fred Ayers.
Right. That's cool. How do you manage the flow of people between the houses, without one house getting overcrowded or bottlenecking?
So it seems like we're always bottlenecking, and which is okay. So we always have an entrance door and an exit door and try to keep the flow so the people that are leaving are not going out the same door as the people coming in.
Right.
And so some people are interested in certain things, such as architect. Other people are interested in the decorations. So we always greet the people as they come in, give them a little bit of history, and then allow them to walk through several rooms and just browse. And then most houses all have cider, cookies, candy. So you definitely leave with a full stomach.
Or a little
Yes.
snack. How do you ensure safety? Do you coordinate with...
So this is why we have it during the day, because our sidewalks are in need of repair, and we do put that in our tour book to be very careful on the sidewalks. And we usually will have a person stationed at the front door. We've never had a problem. In the 37 years that we've been doing this, we've never had a problem as far as safety is concerned.
That's beautiful. What challenges have you faced in coordinating this, or have there been some challenges?
So the challenges would be, sometimes it feels like I'm trying to arrange 25 different weddings, making sure that everybody is on task, ready for the day. We also have a dinner, which was last week, of all the participants that will be on the tour, and what challenges do you have and how can we help that, or what problems do you have. So the challenge that is the most likely would be having enough houses that would be open.
Right. Has that ever happened?
That we do not have
Yeah.
enough? No.
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 More and more. Do you get new houses like different year?
We
every
do
year?
get new houses, and that we have sometimes people that will take a break, and then they'll do every other year. And we have 2 new buildings that are open this year. One is the Brown and Smith building that is Parker Jewelers and Sunnyside Boutique. They found history in that building of what it has been throughout the years. So they're going to display the history and dress and character, and they'll have someone outside painting different replicas of places in Salem.
Right. Oh, that's fun. Have you noticed any particular holiday decorating trends coming and going in the different houses?
Well, some of the houses are Victorian and some of the houses are federal. And then the museums obviously are different. And so some of
Real
them.
quick before you say that, what would be the different eras between the federal and Victorian?
So the federal is more practical and less showy. The Victorian would be, the bright and the glitzy. And so those houses seem to be able to use the glitzy, the drapery, that would have been in the Victorian days.
Right.
The federal, which is more practical, which I have a federal house, you're more greens and decorating with what they would have decorated back with in those days.
Right.
We usually try to save a room just to do the fun Christmas decorations.
Like what?
Which would be like the different colored lights or the more modern type of decorations that they have out.
So the decorations try to keep to the era of the house.
That's right. That's right.
So, do you how do you involve local businesses in this and local other organizations?
So that's a good question, because the local businesses seem to very much thrive. Because people are walking up and down the street, and some visitors come from New England states, Pennsylvania. Last year we had people from over 12 different states come to visit. And so they haven't seen the antique stores, which we have a lot of in Salem, or some of the restaurants. So they all want to have lunch, they all want to get a snack, and some of the stores have book signings. So I go around to all of the stores, letting them know this is the date, giving them information. And if you would like to advertise in our tour book, they will, and they'll say the specials that they'll be having that day.
Right. So funding. Do you get sponsorship for this? Are the people who own the houses, are they volunteering the decorations?
So the people that have the houses, they pay for everything in their house.
Right.
We do decorate all the lampposts and the parks, so that funding comes from the Yuletide Tour Fund, which we have 2 sponsors. Next year we're going to go a little bit more asking for sponsorship. Franklin Bank, I'm sorry, they always donate our cards that we first hand out to all the businesses.
Okay.
And PSC&G, they always donate money toward us. Otherwise, the advertisers in our book, that helps with our funding.
Right. So it's a ticketed event.
It is a ticketed event.
How much are
yes.
tickets?
So the tickets are $15 prior to the tour,
Right.
and $20 the day of the tour.
And where can people get those tickets?
So we have flyers that are out. We have a Facebook page. It's called Home for the Holidays, Salem Yuletide Tour. And that will tell you all the businesses that are selling the books. And you can also buy them on Eventbrite.
Okay.
Royal Port Antique is Suzanne Cook. She's like my right hand in doing everything that we do.
Right.
She sells a lot of the tickets at her building on Market Street.
Okay. And what do you do? What does your organization do with the funds that you raise through the ticketing?
So it goes into the fund that helps us to initiate the next year's tour. And then we also do community projects. So we have a Swedish cabin that's a replica on Market Street, and we take care of the Swedish cabin.
Right.
This year we had trees cut down that were causing the roof and to have a lot of repairs done. Last year, we did all the chinking in between the logs on the cabin. We always repair the fences. And then we have another park across the street, and we repair the fence, and we do different projects, keeping that nice. And then if we have any money left over from that, we'll find a target area in Salem that we can help upkeep.
Do you have any specifics that you've done before with that extra money, the other projects that you've done?
So it seems like the projects always are in need at the two parks because they are old and they have been there for a while.
Right.
So last year, almost the whole fence at the Peterson Park needed to be repaired. And last year, with having the chinking done in between the logs was a huge project.
Right.
But it keeps Salem from having to pay for it, the City of Salem, and it also keeps everything very well maintained.
So this helps the whole community. This house tour is
Yes.
not just a house tour. It serves the whole local community.
And we do a lot of cleanup events. So we've already done several cleanup events on Market Street. There was an abandoned Sunoco station, and a crew came out and took care of that station.
Right.
And then we'll get a group of people that will come, and they donate their time also to cleaning up. And then at the same time, we start decorating all of the lampposts on Broadway and Market Street, and putting greens up on the parks and the gazebos.
Right. What are some long-term goals and plans for the future of the house tour? Do you have
Well,
like a great grand vision of where this is?
I think that one of our biggest would be to involve younger people.
Okay.
And so by having the children's park, that was my daughter's vision, to involve younger people, to get the word out and let more people know that they don't have to go through all of the houses. They can just come and be part of the event. We have the high school, the local high school from Salem. They have about 25 kids in our choir, and last year was their first time. And they absolutely loved it. The only problem is when they came in the house, the cookies were gone.
So we're gonna have to be ready for that.
So we have to be ready for that. So they go on Broadway with their band director or choir leader, which is Renee Murray, and they spend about 5 hours caroling.
Wow.
And it's really nice. And then we have another group that's a smaller group of 4, and they go inside the houses and sing songs.
Right.
So there's Gail Slaughter is doing the Christmas parade,
Right.
and she has the parade queens. She's bringing them on the tour this year so that they can see what the different historical places look like and what we do, and hopefully we'll get some of those students to help volunteer.
Right. So the future of the house tour is all about bringing these kids in so they continue the traditions.
Right, because a lot of the places these kids have probably lived here all their life and have never been invited into some of the places. And so now they get to go see, and they also get to hear that they can be a part of it if they'd
Right.
like. We do have 3 high school students that volunteer every year to help clean up and to help decorate and help the day of the tour volunteer.
Right. And it's nice. You go past the house all the time, and you finally get to see the inside of that house.
Right.
As well as the holiday.
Right.
Holiday themes.
So I would say probably our long-term goal is to always involve the whole community.
Right. So how do you know that how do you measure the success of the work that you've been putting in?
So by the smiles on our faces.
Nice answer.
Yeah, probably. And then after the tour, we gathered the books. We're able to tell how many people were here, different places that they came from. And usually we have between 400 and 500 people that will come.
Wow. And what are the responses of the homeowners?
The responsibilities?
The responses of them.
Oh, the responses.
Yeah.
So there is a place, one homeowner, he always had everybody to his house afterwards for a dinner, and we would all come dragging in. And as they're dragging in, they would say, that was the best tour. That was so much fun. We had so many people. And I think last year we probably had the most people. And Woodstown Railroad does, it's a giant benefit because people do like to ride the train.
Right.
Excuse me. And so that helped a lot to bring more people into the town.
Do you know where the train ride goes?
Excuse me. It's a 20-minute ride with Santa Claus. So it goes in Mannington. It starts at Market Street at the Peterson Park, and then it rides for probably 10 minutes one way into Mannington and 10 minutes the other way
comes
back.
back the other way. It's fun. Tell me about a couple of your favorite houses. Now, I know you don't want to show favoritism in in all of your homes, but you have to have a couple personal favorites.
Okay, so one of my favorites, they're not open this year, and that would be Jonathan and Kevin, and they have an absolutely beautiful house on Market Street, and that would be I'm not going to restate the name because I may get it wrong.
Okay.
Because all of the houses have name, and new people that come into town, they memorize the names and the addresses. I memorize the people that live there.
Right.
And also next door to them are Chris Hofacker and Sebastian. And theirs is a more Victorian house, and they decorate 3 floors. So the participants coming through will go all the way up to the 3rd floor.
Right.
Yeah, and most of us only have the 1st floor open, but some others do. 7 Stars is on our tour this year, which they have the first drive-through that was ever in Salem County. And the people would drive up on their horse and they could order a beer.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's very interesting
That is
too,
very
right?
interesting, yeah. That is cool. That's very good. So what's the most rewarding part for you as an organizer of the house tour?
Seeing that the event was successful at the end of the day. And I think probably all of the different committees that work together. So we have the beautification committee, who we dedicated the tour to this year. We always dedicate the tour to someone or a committee.
Okay.
And the beautification committee, I'm just amazed because they do all of Market Street. They hang flags on all of the lampposts. They decorate the storefronts, and they just do that. We will meet every once in a while. How's it going? Do you need anything? And so probably at the end of the day, when I've watched 5 different committees that rarely have to talk to one another because we all just do the job.
Right, all working together.
And all volunteers.
And it brings the community together.
And it brings the community together.
And
Yes.
you judge it by the smiles you receive.
That's right.
That's right. So, Ginny, I just want to ask you a couple of last questions.
Okay.
Real tree or fake tree?
I have fake trees. With my children growing up, they had a little bit of allergy to the real tree.
Okay.
But this year, I'm thinking next year I'd like to have a real tree.
Tinsel or garland?
Garland,
Definitely garland. Multicolored lights or just all white?
all white.
All white. Ugly Christmas sweater or very fancy Christmas attire?
The ugly Christmas sweaters are very hot and a little bit itchy. So we find that we start to get a little bit warm after so many people and talking and busy. So more like, well, you have one. I think I might have to go shopping for that.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty exclusive, I know. Are you classic carols or more newer pop? Christmas
Definitely
songs?
classic carols.
Hot chocolate or eggnog?
Hot chocolate.
Favorite Christmas movie?
I have to say it's probably Home Alone. I do like that
Very
movie.
good.
Yes.
And a favorite Christmas memory?
Would be my father. First Baptist Church is open this year, and we're happy to have them. And that's where we grew up. And on Christmas Eve one year, my dad was not about to have the church closed. He was a deacon there. And it was snowing very hard, and it was actually lightning at the same time. So it looked like we were not going to a Christmas Eve service. But my dad got out the sled, and he pulled all 5 of us kids on the sled to First Baptist Church. And I'll just never forget that.
That's wonderful. Ginny, thank you very much for spending time with us. We
Okay,
appreciate
and thank
it.
you for having us.
Yeah, my
And come
pleasure.
out to the tour. And I did want to show that this is the book, and this is the ticket that you receive with everything outlined, and then you can map out where you want to go. It has parking, it has featured days of event, has the businesses and the different specials they'll be offering as well.
Ginny, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
So in our continuing conversation of all things Christmas here in Salem, we are talking to Aidan Wilson. Aidan is the owner-operator of Lisa's Place Salon here in Salem, and she coordinates the Christmas parade, the annual Christmas parade. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. So, before we get started, tell me a little bit about you. Like, how long have you been around Salem? What's your background?
Born and raised in Salem. I was in the old terrace, or the new terrace, and then I moved to the old terrace. I bought my grandmom's house, so I literally moved around the corner.
So you're generational. How long has your family been here in Salem?
Always, the Hasslers have been in Salem forever, so.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you go way back. You're an OG.
And that's how the love of the parade started.
Right. So you own the salon, right?
For now, I've been working there since 2007, so 17, 18 years. Owned it since 2018
Right.
with my business partner.
What got you interested in organizing this parade, getting involved?
My dad. My dad is Charlie Hassler.
Okay.
And he's always been very active in the community.
Right.
And just one day he just said, how about you join along with me to the meetings and help out? And okay.
Right.
And ever since, just stuck around.
You even just kept doing that. So what can we expect in this year's parade? Give us a rundown.
Well, it's been a really good mission in the last few years. We're really trying to ramp up the parade and really get it high energy. It's always been a great thing,
Right.
but we're really trying to make it an even bigger and greater thing.
Okay.
So this year we're adding new bands, string bands, more high school bands. So a lot more that alone brings a lot of energy, and that's a great feeling.
Right. Can you be specific? What spring bands? Which high schools do you?
They come from all over, Deptford, Williamstown. Even our local bands now are able to join. There's a few that in the next few years they're going to arrange so they can be here.
Right.
But really specifically, we're trying to get everyone local to
Right.
get a part of this.
What are some other highlights of the parade?
Well, the antique cars.
Okay.
We have a lot of those. We have every character you can think of. We're working on having.
Like what characters?
We have Frosty the Snowman, the Grinch, of course. The main highlight of any part of Christmas is Santa.
Of course.
Oh Lord, we have so many. There's, I think we're getting the big Yeti guy this year. I forget his name, from the Abominable Snowman or whatever he is.
Right,
I don't
right.
know him. But yeah, everybody.
Is there a specific theme for your parade this year?
We don't have a specific theme because it's always just holiday based. It says Christmas parade, but we don't care where you are, where you come from.
Right.
Come and celebrate the holidays and
Right.
just positivity.
What's the route of the parade?
We start at 4th Street right there at the corner where Henry Young Insurance Agency is.
Mm-hmm.
And we end at Johnson Street right there before Sherwin-Williams.
How long does the parade last?
Typically, you can look for at least an hour.
At least.
In the last few years, we've had a lot of fire truck apparatus and things like that, so it lengthens the parade quite a bit. So
Right.
we're looking like an hour and 15, hour and a half.
Right. How are crowds?
Oh,
What's attendance?
Well, of course, weather's always a factor, but the crowds, it's really, really neat. Everybody comes out. They're usually right here, right in the middle of town.
Uh-huh.
But they have little clusters where, traditionally people sit.
By their houses.
Yeah.
Right. So do you know any history of the parade? Like how long has it been going on?
So I haven't had a recent conversation about that, but when in the older committee, we tried coming up with a date, but we're thinking 35, 40 years at least.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's always just been ran literally volunteers just trying to come out and make a great day.
Yeah.
There's never been quite,
Right. Well, walk me through what you do as a coordinator. So what is your actual title? Are you the coordinator or are you?
I don't have any specific title.
Okay.
When I say it's literally a group of volunteers just trying to make everything work,
Right.
I don't have a specific hat. None of us do.
Good. Okay.
But we all have an important role, and
Right.
we appreciate everybody.
So walk me through your role.
Fundraising, the day of is where my husband and I and our daughter, we make sure everything steps off the parade. We get it. We're down there at lineup.
Right.
So the day of, that's what we're doing. But just the planning the actual whole day and making sure everybody's lined up.
Right. How far in advance did you start planning?
We start about 6 months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, we don't hold a lot of events, which that could change the next few years to really try and make a bigger parade
Right.
for fundraising. But 6 months we start meeting and talking about it.
Right. What's the process of choosing, what floats and what bands, or are you just waiting for people to come and say, hey, we want to be part of your parade?
Yeah, it's a registration process, so anybody can join and register. Anybody can be in it. It's free. So we don't have any control over themes. We just ask that no one else is Santa. That's all we ask. There's one Santa, and he's at the end of the parade.
Right.
So that's the only rule.
So you can have 5 Frosties, but one Santa.
Only one Santa.
Right. So how do you ensure all of, like, the logistics? Do you need to get permits? Are there street closures? How do you coordinate that through the town?
So Gail actually helps. She really handles all
Gail
that
Slaughter.
part. Yeah, she handles all of that, and that of course coordinates with the police department and the county up to the state. There's permits involved and all of that.
Because
they
this is a
plan.
state highway. Do you need to get
Yes.
special state?
Yeah, it needs special clearance. So that's where sometimes people tend to make if they get upset if the parade. I think we've only canceled ever once, maybe twice in 40 years.
Right.
But they've been upset because I think weather. But you only have one day to do it. There's no rain or shine. It's a state highway. So.
Right, so you don't have a choice. How about during COVID? Was that another
That was
cancellation?
one of the years.
Yeah, I think everything was canceled.
It was a sad, sad year.
It was a sad year. So what steps do you ensure safety?
Safety, we always, really honestly, we make sure that when certain groups register and sign up, we have certain conversations to ensure there's no, playing around. You always want to make sure everyone have a great time, but let's not try any stunts. Let's not try any things like that. You want to make sure on your floats you don't have kids hanging off.
Right.
In general, the streets shut down so everybody stays.
Right. How about crowd control, things like that?
The
Coordinate
police?
with the
They're
police?
wonderful. They handle everything.
Yeah.
They are wonderful for us.
How do you coordinate with local businesses and other organizations?
We have sponsor letters that we send out, and this year especially, we've been a little bit more boots on the ground, trying to seek out local businesses and have them attend, or donate, or have a float, anything in. We would love to have them.
Right, and is that working? Are you getting more
Yes.
people out?
Yes.
How have you seen growth in the parade in your tenure of working with the committee?
Yes, yeah, there's every year I like to think it gets a little bit better, and with some more experience, and as we always have new people joining, so we're trying to figure out different ways logistically to make it smoother and better, but it's just there's a lot of people that day, so you do the best you can.
Right. It's hard it's a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
So what challenges, moving parts clearly a challenge, but what challenges have you experienced in running this parade or getting this parade off the ground?
Really, honestly, I can't, off of the top of my head, I can't think of any real challenges.
Right.
Because anytime that there may be a hiccup, really any of us, you come up with a solution. There really are no problems. You find a solution to make it work.
So you have volunteers to do a lot of the work.
Only volunteers.
Only volunteers. How many volunteers do you have?
This year, I think we're between 8 and 10, right, just in our committee.
Right.
And we don't have any per se, titles. We all just we delegate and make it all work. And
How do you get the volunteers? How do you involve the community?
we all technically and really realistically, we're all involved in the community in general. So it's word of mouth, if you want to join us, you want to help out, people reach out, we're like, come on, help us, whatever, we love it.
Right. Funding. Where does the funding come from, and what does it cost to run a parade?
Well, in our years where we've had the parade where it's only ran, I would say at minimum $7,000, and the biggest parades over 10.
Right.
For what it is, that's not much money at all, and it is only sponsorships and donations.
Okay. That's where the funding comes from, sponsorship
Mm-hmm.
and donations.
Yep.
How do you incorporate the traditional holiday with keeping it fresh and exciting every year?
That's where we're stepping out this year. We're trying to reach out to different bands and see if we can, even in the next couple of years, line them up.
Right.
And we can plan for new things that way. But really, honestly, you figure even if a band or a float has been in the last 5 years, every year they do a new theme.
Right.
Every year. So even the big high school bands, every year the bands tend to have different themes and different vibes. So
Right.
they carry it all themselves. We don't have any part of that, which is cool.
Right. One less thing you have to worry about. They
Yeah.
just bring it in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you have enough on your plate, right?
You say Christmas parade, everybody basically makes that work. They've picked their theme, they pick their vibe,
Right.
and it's really neat to see.
Very cool. How does a Christmas parade benefit the entire community? What are some of the benefits?
I mean, I think really and honestly, it's a free event.
Mm-hmm.
So what's there to lose? Everybody just has to show up and enjoy it.
Right.
And I think with such a long community tradition, it's just nice to see what would the word be over year and year again, like just something so nice, like a tradition.
Right.
So, and I think that's nice.
What's one of your favorite parts of the parade? What do you look forward to?
I really, really like the high school bands, and of course, I love all the fire apparatus because it's so big, so loud, and all the lights and everything.
Do you have memories of the parade as a kid?
Oh yeah, there's pictures of me and my cousins, holding the banners and riding around on the golf carts because you have to run here, run there. And,
Right.
Yeah, a ton of memories. It's pretty cool.
Were you involved in the parades back then? Because
Yeah.
you said your parents or your father was involved.
Yeah.
What kind of things did you do as a kid with the parade?
Dance groups, schools, floats, holding the banner.
Right.
And then as I got to be like an older teenager, that's when I started getting involved. So
Yeah. How do you measure the success of the parade?
I don't.
How do you personally know that this was it? This was a good one.
I think when you start seeing year after year the crowds getting bigger, better, really honestly a social media following, that day I leave the phone down for a few hours, then I pick up that night
Right.
and I start reading the comments and the shares and even suggestions.
Right. So the parade has a social media
Yes.
presence.
On-
Where do they find you?
On Facebook, we have a page, Salem City's Magic of Christmas Parade.
Okay. Is that the official title? Magic of Christmas Parade? Does that title change, or is that every year? That's
Every
the
year.
Magic of Christmas Parade.
Yep.
Some long-term goals that you see for the future of the parade.
It would be really nice. Again, like we said, we're focusing on getting different groups, string bands. I'd like to see even maybe some of our kind of local sport, if maybe we could find the Eagles cheerleaders, if we could get that ahead of time, or
Right.
just little things like that. Excuse me, maybe some sports players. I don't know.
Right. What are some of the top things now? Do you have any celebrities? I mean, I hate to use the word celebrity because you have some great high school bands and
They are our
string
celebrities.
bands. They would be.
We look as everybody that joins and registers. They're the celebrities. They're the ones. That's your little moment to shine coming through the
Right,
through the town. And,
yeah. Do you have a grandmaster or somebody that each year?
Yeah. So this year we did something a little different as far as change up.
Okay.
Every year there's always, for any parade, there's a parade marshal.
Right.
Well, this year we're dedicating the whole parade to our local fire departments
Okay.
and their volunteers. So this year we're honoring two of the oldest members as the marshals.
Okay.
And that would be Clarence Dunn and Captain Klein. So that alone, that's pretty cool. And we're coming up with a little different ideas with that and making people feel special. These are the people that are the heartbeat of our town,
Right. So your long-term goals for the parade is just to build a parade, get more bands, and make people just happier to go to that. Right?
And look forward to next year. Well, every year we want a next year, so.
And are you already thinking about next year?
Yeah. We're very lucky that, again, our volunteers that help us out, it's always well, what if next year? What if we did this,
Right.
So-
You're taking notes and
Yeah,
ready
try to
go.
make it come into fruition,
Very cool. Do you coordinate with the house tour at all? Do you?
So they are their own, they are independent
Right.
from us.
Yeah.
But we don't disassociate, but they are independent from us. But
Right.
yeah, when it comes down to it, we have a tree lighting at 6:30 p.m. So after all the day's events are done, because it's the parade, the Yuletide tour, and then the tree lighting.
Right. Yeah.
And so we try to coordinate to make sure everybody can be there, and that's where we're really trying to make that bigger every year. So
Where's the tree lighting ceremony?
it is right in front of the old courthouse right here. We planted a Christmas tree, so every year it'll get bigger.
Okay.
So we have it there. Santa comes, and Santa lights the tree with the parade queen. So we have our local choruses, and it's neat. It's just a cute little candy,
Right.
a little get together.
Right. And that'll be at 6:30 after all of the events.
Yeah, it's like a day's closing.
That makes a nice long holiday day here in
It
Salem.
is. It's a really good positive day.
Right. Is there a rain date?
No,
No.
No, rain dates,
snow,
rain or shine.
rain, shine.
Yep, rain or
right?
shine.
Rain or shine, it'll happen. Very good. Aidan, I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you a couple last questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Real tree or fake tree?
I love both. When I started dating my husband, he likes real trees, so I did that. Or I like fake trees because they last longer, and I can kind of, you don't have to worry about all the other risks, like the fire risk.
Right. Keeping it water.
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
That.
But he likes the real tree, so
Tinsel or garland?
garland.
Garland. Multicolor lights or all white?
I'm a white light girl.
You're,
Mm-hmm.
Are you into ugly Christmas sweater or fancy Christmas attire?
Both. Both. I love it all.
You rock
I'm a
it all,
Christmas
right?
girl.
Hot chocolate or eggnog?
Ooh. Both.
Both.
I love both.
Favorite Christmas movie?
The Grinch.
The Grinch?
Yeah, I love
and
The Grinch.
What's one of your favorite Christmas memories?
So every year, waking up on Christmas, of course, we always went to church. But my grandmom, after we got done church, my grandmom would come over and open the presents with me, and that was just my most favorite thing. And then while we were opening presents, Mom had Christmas breakfast casserole in the oven, and the smell, you know, that's one of the best memories. And then we always had Christmas dinner at that grandmom's house, and
Right.
both my grandmoms. I had a lot of aunts and uncles, so she would go around to all the houses, but some of the years she'd be with us for dinner, so that was cool.
All right, that sounds great. Aidan, thank you so much for being with us. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No, it was my pleasure. So I'm Dean Johnson, editor-in-chief of Follow South Jersey, and for our holiday episode, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you at the parade and the house tour.